Breaking. Prince William has just smashed 40 years of royal silence with 7 words about Keir Starmer that no one clocked coming. Within 2 hours, Westminster went absolutely mental. 3 cabinet ministers have already legged it, and what unfolds in the next 72 hours could proper wreck Labour forever. If you want the inside scoop on how this constitutional firestorm plays out, smash that subscribe button right now, because the mainstream media won't spill what's really kicking off behind palace walls. Here's what triggered the most dangerous royal intervention in modern British politics. Yesterday at 3:47 p.m., Prince William rocked up to what was meant to be a bog-standard veterans charity event at Chelsea Barracks. Standard drill: shake hands, drop a short speech, pose for snaps. But William wasn't there for the usual faff. He came to drop a message that rattled Westminster to its core. His words were calm, but absolutely brutal. When those who grafted and sacrificed everything for this nation are left behind, while others get priority, something vital has snapped in our social contract. 7 seconds of dead silence followed. Then the room went off applause, roaring for 3 whole minutes. But Starmer wasn't clapping. Sources say he was already on the blower to palace officials demanding answers. Within the hour, Downing Street was in full-blown crisis mode. It kicked off when leaked Home Office papers exposed the shocking truth about Labour's immigration policy. We're talking 47,000 asylum seekers getting emergency housing in 4-star hotels across Britain, while 89,000 military veterans are stuck on council housing waiting lists. The contrast is savage, so indefensible that even die-hard Labour voters are flipping sides. Margaret Collins, a 71-year-old nurse from Birmingham who backed Labour her whole life, told BBC Radio this morning, "I survived the Blitz stories from my mom. I survived the winters of discontent, but I cannot stomach watching blokes who fought for Britain kipping rough while illegal immigrants get hotel rooms with full board." That interview has been shared 1.8 million times in just 6 hours. The optics are catastrophic for Starmer. But here's where it gets even juicier. William didn't stop with one speech. At 6:15 p.m., he pulled something unheard of. He visited a veterans' homeless shelter in South London, Numija Circus. Number palace photographers, just William, 2 protection lads, and 34 homeless ex-soldiers who couldn't believe their eyes. What he said there, caught on mobiles by stunned staff, is even more explosive. You served this country with honor. You deserve better than this. And I promise you, your voices will be heard at the highest levels. Those words, spoken quietly but filmed on shaky video, have gone viral. 12 million views by midnight. The message couldn't be clearer. Prince William has just publicly mugged off government policy, and Starmer knows exactly what that means. Meanwhile, British veterans who fought in Iraq, Afghanistan, the Falklands, and Northern Ireland are being systematically blanked by the very government that sent them to war. Colonel James Hartford, retired from the Parachute Regiment, lost his council flat 3 months ago, after 28 years of service. He's been kipping in his car, outside Aldershot Garrison, the same place where he once commanded 400 blokes. "I fought for this country in Helmand Province," he told the Telegraph yesterday. "I watched my best mate die, saving 3 Afghan civilians. And now I'm homeless while people who rocked up here illegally are living at large in 4-star hotels." His story isn't a one-off. A Ministry of Defense report leaked to The Times shows 12,000 veterans are currently homeless. Another 34,000 are sofa surfing, stuck in temporary digs, or staying with relatives. Many are battling PTSD, physical injuries, and mental health struggles that make steady graft nearly impossible. Sergeant David Morrison, who lost both legs in Busra, spent 4 months living in a tent in his brother's garden while waiting for adapted housing. His application sat gathering dust in a council office while asylum seekers were processed in weeks. Sarah Wilkins, widow of Lance Corporal Michael Wilkins who died in Afghanistan, was booted from military housing 6 months after her husband's death. She now lives in a cramped 1-bed flat with her 3 kids, struggling to pay rent on her widow's pension. These aren't just stats. These are real people who gave everything for Britain and got nothing back. The government promised priority housing under the Armed Forces Covenant Act 2011. That promise has been systematically binned under Starmer's watch. Freedom of Information requests reveal only 23% of homeless veteran applications get council housing within the legally mandated 12 months. The rest are still waiting, still suffering, still abandoned by the system they defended. Meanwhile, Labour ministers are living cushy on taxpayer-funded second homes worth millions. We're talking Angela Rayner's £650,000 property portfolio, Rachel Reeves' grace and favor accommodation, David Lammy's luxury ministerial residence. The contrast is staggering, morally obscene, and even moderate voters are demanding answers. And Prince William just plastered that contrast across national television for everyone to see. Then came the twist no one saw coming. King Charles, who's kept stum and neutral throughout Starmer's first year in office, called an emergency meeting at Buckingham Palace at 9:30 p.m. last night. Present were Prince William, Queen Camilla, 3 senior palace advisors, and General Sir Patrick Sanders, former Chief of the Defence Staff. What was discussed officially remains locked under royal privilege. But palace insiders, speaking off the record, paint a jaw-dropping picture. His Majesty was absolutely fuming. One senior aide told the Sunday Times this morning, "I've served the crown for 23 years, and I've never seen him like this." He feels the social contract between Britain's institutions and her veterans has been mugged off. The King's words, according to multiple sources, were crystal clear. William is bang on to speak. If the government won't protect those who protected us, then the monarchy must remind them of their duty. That's a constitutional earthquake. The crown doesn't square up to elected governments. It hasn't happened since 1936. But Charles just gave his son and heir the green light to do exactly that. Palace constitutional experts confirm this smashes 89 years of precedent. The optics for Starmer are beyond brutal. He's not just scrapping with the opposition anymore. He's scrapping with the monarchy itself. The fallout hit like a tidal wave within minutes of William's shelter visit going viral. By midnight, the pound sterling had tanked 1.2% against the dollar as markets panicked over constitutional instability. £18 billion wiped off the FTSE 100 in overnight trading. International investors hate uncertainty, and Britain just became the dodgiest democracy in the developed world. #DefendOurVeterans shot to #1 globally on Twitter, trending in 47 countries with over 3.2 million tweets in 8 hours. TikTok clips comparing homeless veterans to hotel-housed migrants have racked up 89 million views since yesterday evening. Facebook groups demanding Starmer's resignation have pulled in 400,000 new members since William spoke. This isn't just a political crisis anymore. It's a cultural earthquake splitting Britain right down the middle. Inside Labour HQ, the panic is off the charts. 47 Labour MPs have now broken ranks. 16 are demanding an emergency debate on veterans' housing. 8 are calling for a vote of no confidence. 3 have already jacked in their junior ministerial posts. Former Defense Secretary John Healey, booted by Starmer 6 months ago, gave a savage interview to Sky News at midnight. "I warned the Prime Minister this policy would blow up in his face. He called me a dinosaur and showed me the door." Well, the dinosaur was right and he's finished. Protests erupted across 12 British cities within hours. Manchester, Birmingham, Liverpool, Newcastle, Glasgow, all saw thousands marching with Union Jackson banners, screaming veterans before illegals and Starmer must go. In Leeds, a crowd estimated at 8,000 surrounded Labour Party HQ, chanting William's name. West Yorkshire police called it the biggest spontaneous demo they'd seen in 15 years. This isn't organized political opposition. This is raw public fury. Inside number 10. Witnesses describe a full-blown meltdown. Starmer called an emergency cabinet meeting at 11 p.m. that descended into shouting matches within minutes. Transport Secretary Louise Hay allegedly tore into Deputy PM Angela Rayner, accusing her of leaking dirt to prep her own leadership bid. Home Secretary Yvette Cooper sat in stony silence, refusing to defend the immigration policy she's meant to oversee. Chancellor Rachel Reeves was overheard telling Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson, "He's lost the public, he's lost the party, and now he's lost the bloody royal family." That quote, leaked to The Guardian by 2 a.m., says everything about how isolated Starmer has become. WhatsApp groups among Labour MPs with names like Post-Star Planning and Reset 2025 are openly chatting about leadership contenders. The question isn't if they'll bin him, it's how soon they can pull it off without torching what's left of Labour's credibility. Angela Rayner has already held 3 separate sit-downs with party donors and union bosses in the past 24 hours. Rachel Reeves grabbed breakfast with 15 backbench MPs this morning at a Westminster hotel. Even shadow cabinet members who front up for Starmer in public are quietly plotting for his downfall. One senior Labour MP told Politico, "We're watching a slow-motion car crash and nobody can stop it." William just penned Starmer's political obituary, but hold tight, because there's another twist in this cabinet carnage that makes it even messier. Defense Minister James Cartledge was reportedly so raging during last night's meeting that he lobbed his briefing papers across the table. Multiple witnesses confirm he shouted, "We send these lads to war and then treat them like rubbish. How do you expect me to defend this?" Cartledge stormed out before the meeting wrapped and hasn't been spotted at Westminster since. His office won't confirm his whereabouts. That's a serving defense minister basically going AWOL during the worst veterans crisis in modern British history. Environment Secretary Steve Reed was seen leaving number 10 at 1:30 a.m., looking, in the words of one Sky News reporter, absolutely shattered. He swerved all questions, jumped into his ministerial motor, and sources say he headed straight to his constituency office in South London instead of going home. Why? Insiders claim he's meeting local Labour officials who are threatening to deselect him unless he publicly breaks with Starmer over the veterans scandal. This is a cabinet in total freefall. Ministers aren't backing the Prime Minister anymore. They're scrambling to save their own skins. And every hour Starmer stays tam, the rebellion grows louder. But here's the kicker, the part that could spark a constitutional crisis, making everything we've seen so far look like a warm-up. Leaked documents obtained by The Telegraph show Starmer's team discussed using the Civil Contingencies Act 2004 to clamp down on royal public statements during national emergencies. The papers, stamped confidential PM as only, outline a legal strategy to effectively gag the monarchy if it keeps up what Downing Street calls political interference. If these docs are legit-tanned legal experts say the wording makes it sound bang on, then Starmer has basically declared war on the crown itself. Think about what that means for Britain's constitutional framework. The monarchy has survived for over a millennium by staying above politics while wielding massive soft power. Prime ministers come and go. The crown endures. But Starmer is trying to flip that equation. He's attempting to muzzle the one institution most Britons trust more than Parliament. According to a YouGov poll released just 2 hours ago, 68% of voters trust the royal family to act in Britain's best interests. Only 23% trust the government. Starmer isn't just fighting a political scrap. He's fighting against the emotional core of British identity itself, and the leaked documents allegedly show he knows he's losing. One leaked passage reads, "Without decisive action to rein in royal messaging, this government faces an existential threat to its authority." The optics of that would be absolutely brutal if confirmed. A prime minister so desperate to cling on that he'll go after the monarchy just to silence criticism. Even hardcore Labour loyalists would struggle to defend that. Meanwhile, Reform UK and the Conservatives smell blood in the water, circling for the kill. Nigel Farage fronted a press conference at the Cenotaph War Memorial at 10 a.m. this morning. The symbolism was spot on. Britain's monument to fallen soldiers. Farage flanked by 40 military veterans, Union Jacks everywhere, and his message landed like a hammer blow. Prince William spoke for every decent Brit yesterday. He spoke for our veterans. He spoke for our values. He spoke for Britain herself. And Starmer's response? Silence, panic, and now, reports of an attempt to gag the monarchy. That tells you everything about this government's priorities. No shouting, no insults, just quiet patriotic fury that resonates with millions. Reform UK's membership has surged 180% in just 18 hours. The party's phone lines are rammed with ex-Labour voters desperate to sign up. Major donors who once bankrolled Labour are now writing six-figure checks to Reform UK. Business leaders who stayed neutral are openly backing. This isn't a protest movement anymore. It's a proper political revolution unfolding in real time. Conservative Party leader Kemi Badenoch, speaking from Tory campaign HQ, was equally savage. When the future king has to remind the government of its duty to veterans, something has gone catastrophically wrong. Mr. Starmer has lost the moral authority to govern. The polls tell the story of collapse. Labour has nosedived from 38% 2 weeks ago to 29% this morning. The Conservatives have surged to 34%. Reform UK sits at 19%, their highest rating ever. For the first time in modern British politics, it's a genuine three-way race and all the momentum is against Starmer. The next 48 hours are absolutely critical and could shape Britain's future for decades. Tomorrow morning, Prince William is due at the Royal British Legion HQ for what was meant to be a routine patronage visit. Palace sources say he's now prepping a formal statement on veterans' welfare. If he doubles down on his criticism of government policy, Starmer faces an impossible choice: respond and risk looking petty and vindictive toward the future king, stay stum, and watch his government's credibility vanish completely. Either way, he loses. King Charles is scheduled to meet the Prime Minister for their weekly audience on Tuesday. Constitutional protocol demands the meeting, but insiders confirm it will be the tensest showdown between monarch and Prime Minister since Thatcher's palace battles in the 1980s. One Buckingham Palace aide told The Times, "His Majesty will make his views abundantly clear about the government's duty to veterans. It won't be pleasant for Mr. Starmer. And here's the kicker, what nobody's talking about yet, but should terrify Downing Street. The Archbishop of Canterbury, spiritual head of the Church of England, is reportedly drafting his own statement, backing Prince William's stance. The Church hasn't waded into politics this directly since the Thatcher years. If the Archbishop publicly backs the royal family against the government, Starmer loses the moral and spiritual authority every British Prime Minister relies on. This crisis is now bigger than immigration rows or housing shortages. It's about whether Britain's elected government can survive an open scrap with the monarchy. History says it can't. The last time a British government properly clashed with the Crown was 1936 during the abdication crisis. The government technically won, but Prime Minister Stanley Baldwin's reputation never recovered. Starmer is staring down similar stakes, with far less public backing. At the center of it all stands a Prime Minister who looks increasingly desperate, isolated, and totally out of touch with the country he claims to lead. So here's the question ripping Britain apart tonight. Did Starmer just commit political suicide by going to war with Prince William? Or can he somehow cling on through the worst crisis any Labour leader has faced in 40 years? What happens when the palace decides to hit back? Does Starmer resign within a week? Or does he hang on and torch what's left of Labour's credibility? Drop your answer in the comments because this is the biggest political story in Britain right now. We need to hear from you. And if this constitutional earthquake rattled you as much as it rattled us, share this video with everyone who needs to know what's really going on inside Westminster and Buckingham Palace. The mainstream media won't give you the full truth because they're bricking it about offending Downing Street. But we'll tell you straight. Smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because tomorrow we're breaking the story about what King Charles said in that emergency palace meeting. Trust me, you won't believe it.